Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Hold the Vision podcast. I'm Chidi, your host for tonight. Usually it's Mr. DJ Sticky Fingers hosting, but I'm taking over tonight because tonight we're going to do things a little bit differently. So we have an all ladies cast for tonight, having a discussion. We've got some lovely guests this evening. First of all, I'll introduce Emma, the beautiful Emma. Hi,
Hi.
Emma, also known as Mrs. NG Bants on Instagram. Follow her page, it's amazing. Then we're joined by Brina's 80s baby. Brina, welcome. Um, we're also joined by Peely, Miss Peely, one of our very loyal viewers. Thank you so much. And then obviously we got our Millie, Milan, Miss Milan, the best. And then we've got our Kaylee. Welcome, my darling. So yeah, so this evening, obviously, it's all us women, ladies' night. Milan, Mills, actually, what episode is it?
Doesn't matter what episode it is, because it's ladies' night tonight. But I was informed telepathically by DJ Sticky Fingers, who should be in the comments, that shit, I was gonna say 13. It's episode 14.
Milan, I thought you were going to get it right because it's all women. There's no male energy on this podcast tonight.
It's because he's in the comments and he's just, he's telepathically just getting on my nerves.
Yeah, I agree. I can feel him. He's making me it. But yeah, so tonight we're gonna discuss a few topics. We're gonna talk about what it's like to be a woman, any things that we've achieved that makes us proud to be the women that we are. Please bear with me as well. This is my first time hosting. I'm not amazing at it, but I reckon I can do it pretty good. And I reckon by the end of it, I'm going to be better than Sticky, and we won't need him for future shows. So yeah, I just want to put that out there, speak life into it, put it out to the universe and that. But yeah, so first of all, I'm going to start with the beautiful Emma. And Emma, I'm going to ask you, just like what's it like being a woman for you? What does it mean to you?
I think it's great personally. I mean, we sit and we joke and we talk about saying that women get the rough end of the deal with the things that we have to put up with, whether it be that time of the month, whether it be pregnancy, childbirth, motherhood, you name it. I think when you're a woman, your life doesn't really stop. Whereas for a guy, like you were saying a little earlier, you've been up at this time, you came home at this time, and you're still doing X, Y, and Z. Whereas for a guy, it seems a bit more rigid. But I guess we can all say that we don't really know when you're different, do we? we were born that way, and I think we're all still the same. So, yeah, I think it's great. I'd definitely sooner be a woman than a man, put it that way. Definitely. Definitely.
Right. Did you hear that? She'd rather be a woman than a man, and I totally agree. Because yeah, being a woman's great. I agree. Rina, what about you, my darling?
Ooh, obviously, I love being a woman. I think like women. What's the word? I was trying to think of the word. There's a word for it, but it's like being a woman. It's like, as Emma was saying, it's the most amazing thing. There are things that we experience as women, even if we don't, have children or anything like that. But just as women, the beings that we are, that it's like you have to feel it. You have to know what it's like to have experienced it. And we go through some amazing things. But it's like the things that Emma also listed that make being a woman challenging. Dealing with the things that Emma listed. It's like it's beautiful because even though some of it can be stressful, can be painful, it causes us to grow and evolve into just something that just wouldn't be without us going through these things. So it's kind of mad. It's like it's the most beautiful thing ever. As Emma said, I couldn't imagine being a man. Or I could imagine, but that's as far as it could go. I wouldn't want to change it. I love being a woman. And even with the challenges that it comes with, because it makes us the beautiful beings that we are. But it's a lot. There's a lot to talk about.
Oh, Brina, that was so beautifully put. I love that. I definitely love that. So, do you know what? I'm looking at the comments, and like this is the one part of the podcast I was just like, oh, it's the comment, and all I can see is DJ Sticky Fingers, DJ Sticky Fingers, DJ Sticky Fingers. So I'm not going to read any of them. I'll quickly go onto them, and I will say good evening, Carl, my beautiful friend in Australia. I will say good evening, DJ Empress, beautiful queen. Yeah, anybody else in there, we're not gonna acknowledge them. I can't be bothered. So Peely, Miss Peely, what about you? What does it mean being a woman to you? What's it like for you?
It's the same as Emma and Brina, really. Being a woman's great. I come from a family where we have a lot of strong-minded women. You know, I've seen them do everything, and they've taught me a lot, and I'm still learning about myself as well at the same time. So I think it's just non-stop, really, and getting tongue-tied now. But yeah, coming from a strong family with a whole load of women, I think it's just sort of carrying on what they taught you, teaching your daughters, if you have them, the same values and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's great being a woman, and I'm grateful that I come from a family of strong-minded women. So yeah.
I love that. I really, really love that. Like yourself, I come from a family like full of strong-minded women as well. So I've had no choice to be strong-minded, but wouldn't choose any other way, really. It gets tough sometimes. I think sometimes being a strong woman, a lot of things are expected of us. And people tend to think that we can take more than we should, because we keep it moving. But then at the same time, I think all those things help us to grow, just like Brina said, just like Emma said. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I totally agree with that. Millie, can't you see? Talk to me, Mel.
Wow, I was having trouble unmuting myself there. I mean, I've been doing this for a year. Being a woman, do you know what? I'm going to go off the grain. Like, I fully understand what the others have said, and I've never been a man, so I think being a woman, that's just me, obviously. But I feel like it's hard. It is hard to be a woman because, if you've got very high expectations that people want you to uphold. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone wants to be like, oh, but girls are really emotional when they're really bitchy and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, but why can't I be like that? Do you know what I mean? Like, why can't, okay, I'm not a bitch, okay? I'm absolutely fucking amazing. But, why can't if I want to cry, why can't I? If I want to stand in the queue in Tesco, and if I see somebody in front of me has bought the last bag of sugar and that's what I wanted, why can't I have a cry in the queue? Do you know what I mean? Like, and I don't just mean with small, significant things like that, just things in life. Like, why can't I have a cry? Why does that then, like, make me like, oh, typical girl, she's crying? Do you know what I mean? Like, when you're having an argument and you then your emotions get on top of you and then you have a little cry, it's like, oh, you're crying again. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot to be a woman, as well as all of the other stuff that we have to deal with. It's time of the month, like, do you know what I mean? That don't bloody stop. It's just there, and sometimes it comes, you don't even know, and you're like, oh, hello, wasn't expecting you, but it's here now. So you're like, all right, cool. Pregnancy, giving birth, then, probably not very good with statistics, didn't Google this one, but probably 98% of the time you've got the kid. So you're now mum, you're expected to be a mum, go to work, keep the house tidy, and if you've got a man, woman, going back to the lamppost, like those, then you're then supposed to be expected to care for all of that as well, just for being a woman. And it's like, why? What? Because back in 1605, that's what bloody Elizabeth did. Like, we're not in 1605 anymore. My name ain't Elizabeth. Do you know what I mean? So that's just my outlook on being a woman.
Milan, I love the angle. Sorry, I'm laughing because it's you. I love the angle that you came from, though. I love what you were saying about, these things, time with the man, all those kind of things. It does come with being a woman, and there's a lot of things that are expected of us. And if you want to have a cry, have a good cry. Have a cry. I try not to cry in public because I'm an ugly crier and it just looks terrible. But yeah, if you want to cry, I think we need to release those emotions. I was having a conversation with another woman the other day, and I said to her, she started crying, and she said, "Oh, I'm sorry for crying." I said, "No, imagine if we kept those emotions inside. Look how it feels when we do cry. So imagine holding that inside." I think it's very important to be able to, express our emotions and do it freely without that tag, without that stigma of, oh, you're just being a woman. Oh, you're so emotional. So I love that angle that you came from. Thank you, Mills. Kaylee. Talk to me, Kay, because I know you've got those to say.
See, this is a bit of a weird one because I've said for a very long time that I'm pretty sure that I wasn't supposed to be a woman. Not that I want to be a man, but like my thought process just isn't the same as like my female friends. I'm quite logical. I'm not like overly emotional person. Like I think I cried like once this year, and I'm pretty sure it was like when I was watching Coco or something like that. Like, yeah, I know. And it's always over like stupid stuff. Like, have you seen like the post that goes around and it's like a little jar of like Hershey's Kisses, and it's like, oh, because all dogs should like taste chocolate before they go to heaven. It's in like vets. I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not I'm not like many females that I've encountered, which is not a bad thing, but yeah, I do think that females have quite a lot more pressure put on them than men. You're kind of expected to have a family, run a house, maintain a full-time job, take the kids to all their after-school stuff, and maintain your sanity and friendships at the same time. It's I definitely agree with Milan that there's like a lot more kind of like pressure on women almost to like have their shit together all the time, and it's like, well, that's not a like natural representation of anyone. Like everyone is a bit messy. Like as much as we think that we might be like well put together, everyone's still got their like little bit of chaos. But yeah, would I want to actually be a guy? Probably for like 5 minutes, so I could like, I don't know, swing my bits around, but that would be it. I'd get bored of it very fast. So yeah, that's my thoughts on being a woman and whether I would want to be a man. So
love that, and I love how you touched on saying about individuality, that you're not like most women. I think that's, for me, I think that's an amazing thing, a really, really good thing, because why should we all be the same? And I think what a lot of men do, especially men, I say men because it's an all ladies discussion, what a lot of men do is say, oh, all women are the same, or all you women are the same. It's something that's been, it's a statement that's thrown around quite freely, but we are all individual. We all think differently. We might be in agreement of some things, we might not be in agreement of some things, but we are like, we are individuals, and I think that's a really good thing to promote. So yeah, I appreciate you like saying that. I'm going to read some of the comments, even though I don't really want to. Sticky, he's talking the most. I actually just clicked off the thing, so I don't really know what he said, which is probably a good thing. He's saying something about we're on for like 25 days. And do you know what? I'm not even reading them. He's just disrespectful. People are telling him to be quiet as well.
Can you just like boot him from the chat or like ban him or something?
No, I'm going to remove him soon. Can you see like what he's like? Even he's not on, he's not hosting, he's still trying to make it about him. But what we're going to do, we're going to ignore him. Let's move on. Anyway, so we're going to talk about, I'm going to ask you each question, So I'm gonna go with Peely first. So Peely, what makes you sort of like, what is there anything in your life that you've achieved that makes you appreciate being female?
That's a hard question, you know.
It's a difficult one, isn't it?
It's
Even
a
I
difficult one. Yeah, I mean, the cliche one would, I think, is probably my children. Um, I've got two children, and I think just getting up every day, continuing even on the days when you feel like crap, you know, it doesn't matter what's going on, you know, you always have to get up to be there for them, be there for their moods and all that kind of stuff. And you know, that's just something I don't know, not everyone can do it. Not everyone gets out of bed every day. Some people struggle to get out of bed. So I think just being able to do that, I've always been able to maintain, even if I have a little breakdown, I've been able to maintain who I am and still just keep going. Be strong for others as well. As I said, I've got a big family, so when things are going on, I always make sure I'm there for them. So I think just that in itself just makes me proud to be a woman, be the woman that I am. I think that's probably it, just being able to maintain who I am as a person. So yeah, that's a bit cliche, but that's it.
No, I don't think it's cliche at all. I think if it's something to be proud of, when you can maintain the person that you are and the woman that you are, and you can keep going for your family, for your children, that takes a lot. Because there's some people, some women out there who've just given up, you know. So yeah, no, I commend you on that. And yeah, so I don't think it's a cliche thing to say at all. Brina, what about you?
As Peely said, this is a hard one. Definitely what Peely said. I can't take anything away from that at all. That was beautiful, and I definitely resonate with that. But you know what? I think the things I'm proud of as a female is more going to focus on outside of what we have here, because where I've grown up, it wasn't easy growing up where I grew up, and you know, in terms of just being from a low income background and things like that, but being able to do things like just get my head down and get through school, get a higher education as a female, as a black female in particular, from where I'm from, where the odds are stacked against us, and just having to fight for my space and my place and keep pushing and to do things like, you know, get my qualifications, to get a degree, to get a teaching qualification, whatever it is I want to do that I've done, I'm proud of, because I know that unfortunately some people have these opportunities and choose not to waste it. I don't specifically mean education, but just anything in life that you wanted to achieve as a woman, because there's always barriers. Women that wanted to go into, that want to and go into the corporate world, I already knew from school days, I'm not about that life. It's too savage. You're not allowed to be a female in that environment. It's like you're not allowed to express your emotions, and as anything that happens to us because she's a woman, the sexism, the pressure, the bosses wanting you to sleep with them to get your leg up on the ladder. That was just like, you know what, I definitely don't have time for whatever that is. That was automatically out. So my hat's off to all the women who are like, I don't care. That's where I want to be, and I'm going to fight for my space at that table, and I'm going to eat, and I'm going to make the way for other women. And I will be, how about that? There's women that are the CEOs left, right, and center now. I salute them. So
Yeah.
whatever go for in this world, it's not easy as women, and I'm just grateful for the space that we're in, because even though my background I found was quite hard and a lot of us had challenging backgrounds, the opportunity was there and we took it. But some don't have that. Some are born that would wish they could have the opportunities that we have here. So this is why I have to keep fighting, I have to keep growing, and any queen that wants to come with me, let's go, because it's hard out here. It's hard out here to be a woman, and to be able to be that, especially if you're like very feminine, as you know, Kay says, she's different, thinks differently, and those of us that are very feminine, it's like we should be able to be that instead of dealing with all this extra stress. We're able to just be, but we've got to put on so many hats and climb over so many barriers and still maintain all of this. Do you know what I mean? It's not easy. So I'm grateful for all of that.
It's very, very, very true. I love that. I love what you said about you know, being within your feminine energy. I think it's hard. Like I know that me, I have to use both masculine and feminine energy, like in the workplace, at home, me being a single mum, those kind of things. And sometimes you just, even though I've got like male energy around me, sometimes you ain't got time to wait and all that. You ain't got time to call on people. So you have to, use that yourself. And it becomes hard because then a lot is, again, expectation. Or, when you do try to lean into, the feminine side, it's like, oh, you're just being a woman, or you're just a woman. And then if you're masculine or you're being a bit too masculine, it's like, oh, you just think you're this, that, and the other. It's very hard to find a balance. But I just think that, you should be able to be who you are and do it on purpose. I love that quote, be who you are, do it on purpose. Because it's just like, why are we out here living up to other people's expectations of us? So I love everything that you said. I think that was really, really on point. Love that, Brina. Thank you. Emma, I'm going to come to you, my darling. What about you? Anything in your life that you've achieved that makes you appreciate that, being female?
For me, very similar to Peely, to be honest. I'm a mum of 2, and like up until, well, shortly before I went down the pregnancy route, kids weren't even on my radar. I was not having children, not a prayer. I was more interested in traveling the world, spending money, living my life how I pleased. I didn't want to have that responsibility of always thinking about somebody else. And that sounds really selfish. And you know what? In a way it was, but I was happy. And it was only when I kind of accidentally got a taster of pregnancy that made me think, hang on a minute, no, I want this. And it was a battle, I'm not going to lie, but now I've got them, wouldn't change it for the world. So for me, I think that whole U-turn in my mindset is definitely a big thing for me. I'm really proud of them. I'm really proud of a mum. And I think you touched on this, and so did Millie, the expectation. And when you grow up with a mum or a grandmother who's always been the go-getter, she's been the one that's done everything and made it happen, regardless of whatever's been going on in life. The fact that I'm not trying to like put myself out there and say that, I've done it, the big I am, but I very much seem to have adopted the same kind of attitude towards life. So when something's been thrown at me that's been sent to make me fall, I've kicked it out the way and I've carried on. So yeah, I'm proud of myself for being the mum I never thought I would be. And I'm proud for doing it to the best of my ability, I would say, definitely.
Yes, Emma, I love that. Can I just say one thing? Yeah, push yourself out there. Put yourself out there and like you are the big I am, because you are the big I am. You did something that it's courageous. When you go into something and it's not something that you initially wanted or you didn't know how it was going to be,
it's
but you
scary.
still did it. Yeah, it's frightening, man. I remember when I found out I was having my daughter, I was absolutely mortified. I was like, no, this is absolutely. But then the realization kicked in, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be a mother. You get me? I was somebody that I'm going to be able to nurture, something that is mine, something that came from me. So it is different, but you should commend yourself on that you've been able to adopt the same attitude and mindset of the strong women that raised you. So yeah, I definitely commend you on that as well also. Before I go over to Katie, I am going to read some of the messages. So we've got a good evening, ladies, from Mr. NG Bance, which I believe is your other half, Emma.
It is. He'll be watching it on the train on his way home.
Oh, bless. And then we've got right. I don't know what's going on with this. Right, yeah, there's something is wrong with this live. It just keeps, every time I sort of scroll up, it just clicks off for some reason. So I don't know what's going on. So if anybody watching the live, good evening. Anybody that's joined, good evening. If you could pop your questions back in again. I've got a question from Carl. Carl has said, Empress, does that stop you from achieving goals, feeling singled out, or does that give you more drive being brought up by 10 brothers? So I think it's a conversation between the people in in the live. If you've got any questions, guys, if you can just retype them again, please, because totally missed that. I don't know what you said, and I don't want to be rude and not answer. So if you can pop them back in. I'm gonna go over to Kaylee now. Kaylee, is there, if you've got anything that you've achieved that makes you appreciate being female? Unmute yourself, Kay.
Thank you. I don't know, like, because obviously I don't have children. I'm still single. Like, I've got things that make me proud, I guess, to be alive, but just like actually wanting to be alive is a nice one now, because I have had like long struggles with like my mental health, etc. I'm doing a degree in psychology at the moment, which I am proud of, like getting so far through it and doing like actually well at it, and it has made me like understand people a lot more. Like I can't get mad at people anymore for their actions, because I understand why people act the way they do much more. But yeah, I just I'm just proud to have like made it this far, to be honest. And I think like it's the same, like come from family, both sides of my family, the women are a lot stronger than the men, and I don't know whether that's to do with like the stereotypes that come along with being a specific gender, that men don't really talk about their feelings, they're not allowed to show weakness. So there's been a lot of like suicide in my dad's side of the family, including my dad. So yeah, the women are definitely more tenacious in both sides of the family. So yeah, maybe it's a good thing that I was female, because I might not have made it this far if I had been male, which is an interesting thought. But
that's another way to look at it, because it could be a thing where the feminine energy of your family is stronger, is the more dominant, is something for you, and it's because of what you've been around, it's what you've been brought up by and nurtured by. That's what got you here, because everything that happens to us in life, every situation, every circumstance, it leads us to where we're going to be, or to where we are today. And I just think that sometimes, in order to for self-discovery to happen, we have to go through things, we have to go through those life lessons. And I just think that maybe could be a thing, like I said, the feminine energy in your family was stronger.
Energy. Definitely. And like, so, I wouldn't change anything, because I get asked quite a lot, like, oh, like, would you have your dad back if you could? Which is a really stupid question, because obviously it's not a possible thing. But I wouldn't change anything. Like, I actually really like the person that I've become, and every experience in life, whether it's like small or huge, has shaped all of us to be the people that we are today. Like everything, not in a like everything happens for a reason way, but everything that has happened has brought you to the point that you're at currently. And like, if you can go to sleep at night comfortably and know that you're doing the best that you can and you're good to people, then I think everyone should be able to like be happy with themselves.
No, of course, I definitely agree. Definitely agree. Guys, I'm just gonna quickly run through some of these comments. So DJ Sticky Fingers has said, I love that, Kay. We've got, so I think I've worked out what DJ Empress and Carl were talking about. So I think Carl was asking DJ Empress what it was like being brought up by, with the energy of her 10 brothers. And she's said, they pushed me more in my achievements. My six sisters are just useless. seeing them with some of their women made me feel like I don't want to be like them. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Carl's got a question for us, but I'm going to touch on that question in a minute because it's actually our next question. So Carl, bear with me. I am coming to you. So Milan, is there anything that you've achieved that makes you appreciate being female?
I just wanted to say, Kate, like that was really. I don't want to be rude now. Not rude. I don't want to be inappropriate. Like that was a very nice speech that you gave. Not a speech, but do you know what I mean? Like a little insight to you, and you didn't have to because it was a personal thing, but you did, and I appreciate that. And also wanted to say that
to share,
just because you don't have kids, it doesn't mean that you haven't achieved something. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things where if we thought about it, we probably have achieved loads in our life, but the one thing that stands out to us is our kids, because fuck me, it's hard. Do you know what I mean? But so you have things that you've achieved, but you just don't. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's like a societal expectation thing as well. Like the women are just supposed to be like they're married and have kids, and it's like, well, that's not what everyone wants out of life. Not saying that I don't want it. And very much like if it happens, it's going to happen, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. It wasn't meant for me. But yeah, society does put pressure on women to basically churn babies out. Which is not fair.
I was going to say, so for being a woman, for me, it wasn't. I have two things. So one, for me, again, it's my kid, but not me giving birth to my kid. It's just the kid he is, like how he is. Like I'm proud that I've made him how he is. If you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? Like. And I've got a boy. I only have one. I haven't got two. Chids ain't got two, but you know, I haven't got two. But I've got a boy, and mate, it's hard. It's hard with a boy because one, I ain't one, so I don't know about life, and he's only 7. Do you know what I mean? He's not hit the teens ages yet, but mate, and I know girls can have back chat as well, but a little boy's back chat when he thinks he's a whole grown man trying to size up to me, and I'm a whole like 5'10", and this little like is trying to size up to his, and I'm like, but don't start. But do you know what I mean? Like I'm proud of the kid that he is. He's really polite. He's good at school. You know, he's good around the house. All the time, this boy wants to help me with cooking. I'm like, mate, just get out of the kitchen. Like I hate cooking. And then you want to be there, like, but can I just chop this? And then, you know, like, if you're not chopping it properly, my mind's like, I can't deal with this right now. But he wants to be helpful, and I like that. So there's that. So, yeah, not me actually giving birth, but him being how he is, that makes me proud of being a woman. And also, in my previous job, literally, I was there for 10 years. And in the last 2 years that I worked there, I finally managed to get to being a duty manager after being there for 10 years, after being told that I'm a really hard worker, I go above and beyond. I had regulars come in the store just for me. They wouldn't buy nothing, they would just come in to see me. Do you know what I mean? I was always getting good feedback. So after being there for 8 years, doing all the overtime, all of the stock takes, at being there, everyone's at beck and call. In the last 2 years, it was like, and it wasn't even because I like earned it. It was just there was like a shift of like the company boss. There was a shift in everything, and it was like, oh well, here you go. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, thanks guys, like really. And I've seen people who have come in after me and got further than I was, and it was like, but I still stayed. Didn't go, so I'm proud of myself for that. Because I definitely feel, especially in the industry that I worked in, it was a male-dominated industry. I worked in garages, I worked with cars. It was a very like male-dominated industry, but I stuck it out for 10 years. I mean, I left that, but it's another story for a different day.
Yeah, but I think that's amazing though. You stuck it out, and that job was yours from way back anyway. But you stuck it out to actually say, yeah, I got it. Little bit of an insult that they gave it to you later on, but the way you stuck it out and actually got that anyway is an achievement. I love that. I love what you said, and I commend you on raising a man. raising a man, I watched my mum do it, and yeah, it don't look easy. Like I thought girls were just different, but at least with, you know, another like I've got a daughter, and she does my head in, but I can understand what she's going
No,
through.
kids, this boy, he just turned 7. He's been 7 for what day are we on now? Wednesday. So Tuesday, Monday, Sunday. He's been 7 for 4 days, right? This boy, for his birthday, normally boys are like, oh, I want Avengers, or I want like Roblox, or whatever. There are other toys available, just saying. This boy wanted a ring, a watch, and a chain. That's what he wanted. That was it, period. That's all he wanted. A ring, a watch, and a chain. I'm like, what? Yeah. He's like, yeah, but that's what I'm like, no, that's not what boys wear, but that's what I want. I mean, he got the watch and he got the ring. He didn't get the chain. But you know, when you're like literally, I was going into toy shops and I'm looking around and I'm like, but he doesn't want any of this. He doesn't want it. Then I'm standing in jewelry shops like, oh, I can't afford any of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's me. I was like, what? No, it's mad. But yeah, so I'm going through that now. Do you know what I mean? 7 for 4 days and he wants a Ferrari next to a Tesla.
I want to say thank you for raising what sounds like is going to be a competent man when he is a man, because honestly, the level of incompetency is unreal, like from men. Yeah, it's like, it's nice that he's like helpful and stuff. Like you should be. And well,
this guy in the Hoover, if any you need, literally can charge him £2 a room. He'll come and hoover your whole house. He loves hoovering. The Hoover's his thing. Like every day he's like, come here. I'm like, hon, please. The fuse will go, and that's all long. Put it back.
That's so funny. So can I just say a good evening to anyone that's just joined us. So Carl has said that's also a primitive understanding on how women should be. Everyone should be empowered and get what they need for themselves. Love that, Carl. I love that. I'll read that again. That's also a primitive understanding on how women should be. Everyone should be empowered and get what they need for themselves. The Empress is saying £2 per room. Laugh out loud. He's not playing. So I'm going to go to Carl's question, because he did put this question out last week as well. So Carl is asking, is the feminist needed in the extremity in this day and age? So basically, is there any need for feminism like nowadays? I'm gonna go to Rina. I'm gonna ask you, girl.
That is a brilliant question, Carl. I think like it's gonna sound a bit mad, but I've got like mixed emotions on this one, despite what I said earlier. It's like, on the one hand, yes, there's still, it's like women have come so far in what we're, allowed to do now, from, with the choices that we have of our lives, what we choose to do, have kids, not have kids, what career we want to go, look at what Milan's done, do you know what I mean? Just being able to just choose to just be. That's what women be doing. So much has happened. But at the same time, I think it is still needed, because we're still being denied so much. We're still being denied so much. We're still being put in this box, and it's driving me crazy. There's so much that we can be, and we're still very much put in a box. And that's saying that more comfortably, as I said earlier, as a woman growing up in the UK, never mind in other countries where there's even more cultural and societal restrictions on what women can and cannot be. I mean, like my experience is that got a teaching qualifications when my girls were little, because I just needed to do something. Life had taken a turn, and it's like, right, I'm gonna have to do something different. Did that, and an opportunity actually came up to go and teach in Saudi Arabia, at a university in Riyadh. And I thought, you know what, it's gonna be a mad one. Mom's gonna have to move into my house and look after my little kids. I'm gonna be over there. And but I needed to go, I need to experience it. And this is me going to a completely different society. I mean, I was already Muslim at the time, so I had some insight into the culture and things like that, but I knew I was going into, the homeland of something that I'd never seen before, for a certain way of life, a certain culture. And it was very eye-opening to not just see things on the news, not just hear what people are saying or the community here, but to actually be over there. And it did make me very grateful for certain things, because there was a lot of restrictions, obviously, in what women can wear. I mean, I'm teaching these amazing young women at university. They're like 17 and 18 years old, and they're doing all these qualifications, including learning the English. But when I had to ask them for one of their tasks, like, what do you want to do when you're older? And half of what they had said some things that I just didn't imagine were going to come from them. Not because I didn't think they had the intellect, because I just wasn't sure what they would want to do. I didn't know them like that. Different culture and everything. And they wanted to do some amazing, life-changing, impactful things. And I had to hear all of this, knowing that most of them, because of where they are, probably won't be allowed to do that. They're doing university courses where there's no job for them at the end, not because there's no jobs available, literally, but literally, as women, they're not allowed to do those jobs. Apart from being a teacher like myself, or working in the female branch of the female banks that are only open a couple of days a week, which made money transfer madness, by the way, I must add. They were telling me dreams that when they can achieve anything they want, but they're gonna have to leave. And that's just one example. And that's not to put the whole country down. It's just an example of what I experienced. Mm-hmm. And this is why I would say that we've come so far, but, you know, even really bad things, sex trafficking and the sexual abuse of women and girls, there's still so far to go. We need women fighting for other women, because we're just not being protected enough at all, so that we can just, as I said earlier, just be.
100%. I agree with that. I think, although we've come a long way, in regards to the treatment of women, there's still a lot of things lacking. I do think that men and women should be treated equally. Why should we be treated any less just because of our gender? And gender is such a broad topic now as well. So you think, because it's such a broad topic and there's so many things, it's always being discussed, you would think that they would make changes, and all these changes would be automatic. And I think then, because the world is controlled by a lot of masculine energy, where is the balance? Again, there's no balance. So we've got so NG Bance is saying some take it to the extreme. And Carl, I think he was saying about defining what we mean by feminist, and he said some take it to the extreme. Carl said that he means he's talking the extreme. DJ Sticky Fingers is saying that's a good point, Brina. It's back to what Brina said. Carl is saying, and sadly, there probably never will be in those sorts of countries. It's truly sad. And DJ Empress is saying, wow, what an experience, Brina. So, Emma, I'm going to come over to you. Do you think there's any need for, is feminism needed in this day and age? What are your thoughts?
I think it's needed, but I don't know if it's necessarily needed as much in this country. Like Brina said, I think there are other countries where women are far more oppressed than they are here. In this country, we've come such a long way already. And like Carl's questioning, there is a stream of extreme feminism. And it seems to me that those feminists, they're not fighting for women to be treated equally. It's turned into more of they want women to be treated better than, or it's like a man hate campaign. And that's where it's just gone wrong. In this country, for example, we still have a choice about so many things. If we want to be a plumber, we can be a plumber. If we want to have an abortion, we can have an abortion. But there's so many countries, even just a couple of hours away in Europe, where they can't do that. So I do believe there's definitely a place for feminism, but in this country, I think we've achieved enough. I'm not going to say that there isn't still some kind of inequality and prejudice there, because do you know what? There probably always will be. And I think we'd be dumb to expect otherwise, if I'm honest. But there are people taking it too far too far. And it just, what you said about there being such a wide topic on gender at the minute, I see it getting worse, because there's going to be people fighting for equality from however many other genders there are. And I'm not trying to be ignorant when I say however many. I genuinely have lost count. I don't know how many other genders there are, but
so true.
It's feminism has done amazing things for women, especially in this country. We've come a long way. I don't see why we have to keep fighting silly battles. And if I'm honest, I feel like social media has made the whole feminism thing worse. It seems like they're just recruiting more and more people into the. It's just, it's out of control for me. I think with what Brina said, 100%, women do need to be supporting women and fighting for women's rights. But I think there are other countries that need a lot more help than what we do. A lot more.
Totally agree. And I think, in back to what you were saying about like social media and it playing a big part, there's one part that me and my friend were talking about this the other day. And one angle I'm going to come from is, when you've got these women who just treat men like absolute dirt, just because they can and just for the fun of it. I feel like social media has just played a big part in that. Like, you've got all these city girls and you've got like all these women like men are trash, and they will literally just, promote that on a daily basis. But then you've got like another set of women that actually worship and honor these women and say, she's amazing. She can do that. She can treat him like shit and get respected. I don't think that any respect comes with it. I think they've just gone so extreme, and they think in their minds that it's getting them respect. They just keep acting like it. So yeah, social media is it's mad. I've even had to speak to my child, like, because she kind of adopted that little bit of an attitude that men ain't shit. Do you know what I mean? And I thought, no, where are you getting that from? I've never told you that. So why are you doing that? Don't think that way. And it's because of all the stuff that is pushed out there towards females on social media. I think it's quite frightening, really.
Yeah, I think on social media, there is definitely a fine line between female empowerment and men ain't shit. And people are blurring the lines, and it's not what it's about. It really isn't. But the messages become very blurred. And I think the definition of what a feminist is has definitely lost its weight. Yeah,
it's crazy. I think when I was younger, I always thought it was like, taking off your bra and burning it. That's what I thought. If only it was that simple, isn't it? But yeah, I think it's, I think there's a need for feminism, but to a height, like really to a height, it can get a bit crazy. So, Carl is saying, love that, Emma. He loves what you said. Mr. Andrew Bant says, well, I don't even know whether to read this out, but there are two genders. Okay, I get where you're coming from, but we're not going to talk about that today. So DJ Sticky Fingers is saying, why do you think social media has made feminism worse? I think we just answered that, Sticky. Carl's saying it's got everyone on the bandwagon. Mr. Andrew Vance is saying social media is amazing, but it's caused a lot of issues in society too. Totally agree, 100%. Everyone feels their opinion should be taken as a fact. Yes. And I think that's where people get a bit like, an opinion is just that, an opinion. You are not, you are not God, you are not the universe, you are not universal law. So I don't know, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but as far as it being fact, then no, not really. Paul is saying, I hate the whole queen kind thing. I feel that it's pushing out a bad narrative of you're better than more or annoying. Sorry, Carl, if you can just type that again, because I don't know what he's saying. But yeah, I hate the whole queen kind thing. I feel that it's pushing out a bad narrative of you're better than, more, or annoying else. If you could just reiterate that, Carl. But yeah, I'm just trying to see if I've missed anything. I don't know. That's one thing I don't. Is Sticky reading out all these comments. I haven't really got time because it takes my mind. I ain't got that kind of brain capacity where I can focus on this and focus on you beautiful ladies. I'd rather talk to you ladies anyway. So I'm going to just abandon the comments. Sorry, guys. Do like you and all that, but no, I'm not right now. Kaylee. Okay, I'm going to come to you. Is there a need for feminism?
Yeah, there is still a need because, like we've quite clearly discussed, there are still a lot of countries where women have very limited say in what goes on in their lives. So it's nice if we're in a position of like privilege that we can like campaign for them to have some level of like what we consider to be normal, I guess, but they don't have the same treatment. Like, I think it's mad that like it was only a couple years ago that they allowed women to drive in Saudi Arabia, and I had a client in the salon at the time who was from Saudi, and had said to him like, what do you think about it? And he was like, well, I think it's amazing. Like, he said, my sisters have never like missed out because we've got like chauffeurs, but like it's not, I know how the other half live, but he was like, I think it's really nice that like they're going to be able to do their own stuff now, because why shouldn't they? And it's nice, it's like refreshing to see that like younger generations in countries like that are thinking in that way, because it gives me hope that eventually, as like older generations die off, maybe things will be different for women who are living in countries like that. It, like, probably just being a little bit like over optimistic, because like there's always going to be levels of hierarchy, whether that's to do with your sex, your skin color, your socioeconomic status, like how much money you've got, where you're from. There always has to be some kind of like top and bottom to it, which is crap. Like, everyone should be treated equally regardless of any of that. So like, yeah, I would just like everyone to be equal, genuinely. Like, and whether that needs to be feminism or just not being a piece of shit human, like, it would, yeah, it just would be nice. But I just don't see it happening. I just don't. But
it's hard. Hopefully one day.
yeah.
Just gonna quickly just run through some of these comments. So I think in regards to what we were saying about, you know, people stating their opinion on social media, Mr. NG Bance is saying, then they get offended when you don't feel the same. Exactly that. It's, you know, think the amount of arguments you see, you know, when you see posts and then you go to the comments, people run to the, do you know what? These days I sprint to the comments, because that's where the entertainment is. Literally get a bit of popcorn, little glass of wine, do you know what I mean? And the arguments people have are shocking. I'm like, you got time. At the end of the day, people are allowed to express their opinion. We've got I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. Shernette Henry said that bit, it's no more than an opinion. Yeah, exactly. Just an opinion. It's not fact. Carl is saying that Queen and King, it was supposed to say, oh, that's what he was saying in the comment that he made. Shernette Henry says, hi all, and thank you for the invite. NG Vance. They're all having a conversation in the in the comments. I love that. You make yourselves at home. Mr. NG Vance is saying, even in this country, there is work to do with regards to the pay gap, etc. Yes, I think Brina touched on that earlier on. But at the same time, if we're trying to have a more equal sex society, we need to encourage women to enter different industries. Oh yeah, I fully agree. Fully agree. That might be a topic to talk about later on as well. Shana Emery is saying they will never bridge that gap on pay. They said so, but they are meant to make pension reflect the difference, as they spoke on it a few years ago, that women only take time out to have children. Okay, that's really interesting. NG Bance is saying, I must admit, I was very naive towards how much work can discriminate against women that become mothers. Yes, that's a big one as well. So there goes, sorry. There is maternity pay, but there is still stigma attached to women getting promotions, etc. Yes, I love that. Love what he said there. Totally true.
Yeah, it's like companies assume that, like, if you want to start a family, basically they're not going to push you up the ladder because you're not worth investing in. Like, you can't do both. You can't have a really good job and also have a child. Like, you have to pick your sides, and it shouldn't be like that. You should be fully supported to have both, because why not? Men managed to do it, so why should we not? Just because you carried the child as a female, like, but it just highlights then that, like, women tend to do, what was the percentage, Millie, like 98% of the looking after or whatever. Yeah. So that's obviously why they don't want to promote women into, like, higher paying jobs. Plus we probably wouldn't mess everything up as much either. Just saying.
True. Shernette Henry is saying it doesn't cover much in regards to maternity pay, and there are women in certain industries, but they will not show this because it's not much advertisement on it. It's sad but true. That's very, very true. I believe that as well. I had my washing machine fixed. There's a fault with my washing machine, and the engineer that came out was a woman, and I was like, yes, it's the female. Do you know what I mean? That's especially for certain people who, there might be women who live on their own. They don't really want a man coming in their house and doing certain jobs. Do you know what I mean? So I think it works there. I think there are a lot of females in certain areas of different industries, but they actually just don't show it. So I agree with that. Milan, I just want to come to you. I think we've got like about 5 minutes left now, but I just want to come to you in regards to feminism. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I didn't even know what feminism was, or who it even is. Like, not like I'm uneducated. Obviously, I went to school and I know what feminism is, but what I mean is, like, now I don't know what feminism is. Like, I can't even say it. Feminism. Yeah, I don't even know what that is. Like, what is that? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's got to a point where, just like everyone else has said, it's like your opinion is that everyone just shits on it. And, like, what I don't understand is, like, why do other countries have to be different? Like, why have we got to be different to somebody else? And why can women get further in certain countries than others? Like, what? Like, do you know what I mean? In my mind, it just doesn't make sense. Like, do you know what I mean? It's weird. Especially, like, we're all in 2021. Like, really, like, these women only just know how to drive. Like, that's mad. But yeah, they could, well, obviously they wouldn't be able to because they didn't have a license, but they could come here and just drive. Like, that's crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like, why are we holding people back because of their gender? That's ridiculous. And to me, it's just stupid. I definitely feel the world as a whole, like, literally the whole entire world, from top to bottom, side, the whole circumference, like that word there, do you know what I mean, needs to work better for like, women, period. Like, do you know what I mean? And there'll be them people that are like, oh, but the men, no. You lot can literally do so much and get so far in life. And then, like, it's like Case said, if me and my partner decided, right, we are going to start a family, he would then still go and get all of his promotions and all of his shit, and I would probably stay exactly where I am, because people think that, you know, if your child gets sick, or if they've got school holidays, or, you know what I mean, any of those things, that I would have to take a day off. I would have to take a week off because the kid has school holidays. Why can't we alternate? Why can't I take a week off on the October half term, and in December half term he has a week off? Like, why? But again, it's the stigma of being a woman. Like, they expect you to have a full-time job, be the CEO of a company, but still be a mum, do school run. Like, you want me to be CEO of a company that works 9 till 3 because I've dropped my child off at 8:30, have half an hour to get to work, need to finish at 3 o'clock because I have to pick him up at 3:30. Do you know what I mean? Like, but you want me to still cram in everything in that time, and I should be alright with that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a bit of a dickhead move, really.
No, it is, isn't it? Definitely. When you were saying that, I was thinking, that's such a dickhead move. Like, it's mad. I'm just going to read some of the comments quickly. There's quite a few. Hold on. Oh, what's Sticky talking about now? Right. So, Shona Henry. I love this person. I love what they're saying as well. Said, yes, it's like that in the music industry. A lot of women are not bumped up enough because of becoming mums. Okay, yeah. I've got a friend that does music, and I know she feels that way. DJ Sticky Fingers has said, I swear when the plumber comes over, it usually ends in ... In fact, never mind. Andrew Vance crying tears, laughing at him. Don't laugh at him. It's just encouraging him. Carl's laughing at him. Andrew Vance has said, far too much Pornhub watching, Sticky. And Sticky has said something like that. Shernet's laughing. Andrew Vance has gone back on topic. Thank you. He said, we can't always judge other cultures through the lens of our culture, though. Facts. Love that. Carl said,
sorry, just touched on that. 100%, you can't judge other cultures through the lens of ours. But it seems to be across the majority of cultures that women are undermined by men.
Yeah, true.
Do you know what I mean? So realistically, we're not looking. I'm not like. Do you know what I mean? Women are treated the exact same everywhere. It's just that some countries have come more ahead than others. Do you know what I mean? Women are undermined by men everywhere. Obviously, in certain countries, women can drive. They can vote. They can be a mum and work. They can be a CEO. But that just means that we have got further in the race than other countries, but we all started off the same. Do you know what I mean?
True. Yeah, that's very, very true. Carl is saying, but isn't that down to the relationship not being equal? And DJ Empress is saying, for goodness sake, Sticky, which I totally agree, for goodness sake. Guys, we're literally almost running out of time. But I think we need a part 2 of this discussion, because there are so many points that I didn't even get to, because I knew this was gonna be the case, and I'm so happy, and I'm so I'm really I was so excited to do this, and it's gone really, really well. But before we go, I just want to say one thing. So I know that it was Brina's birthday. Brina had a special birthday the other week, so happy birthday to Brina. And then I know Emma had a birthday yesterday, so happy birthday to you, Emma. Hope you had a good one.
Thank you.
And the very special woman in my life, it's her birthday tomorrow. She'll be 59, and that's my beautiful mother, Janet. I just wanted to say happy birthday to her. And I know when she watches this, I just want to say one thing to you, Mum. Thank you so much. You know, when I was younger, and I said it was annoying how when you used to put me in the mirror and say, kid, you've got to love yourself. You've got to, embrace who you are always. That's how I was brought up. Like, my mum was one of those, she used to do the ironing topless and all that, because she just didn't care, and she was comfortable in her own skin. But I just want to say, Mum, thank you for doing all those annoying things, but because of you, I've been able to love myself freely, and I've always been able to look at other women and see good qualities in them. Before I've never been the bitchy type, or I've never been horrible, and I'll always look at women and find something beautiful about them. I'll see the beauty before I pass remark on anything else, and I just wanted to thank you for that, and happy birthday, love you always, even though you're very annoying. But yes, guys, everyone's saying happy birthday in the comments. Happy birthday to Emma, happy birthday to Brina, happy birthday to Janice. But this has been amazing. And I just want to thank Emma. Thank you so much. I've been dying to, your other half came on before you, and I was fuming about that because been dying to get you on. But I would love to have you back. Absolutely amazing. You've got you're welcome anytime. You've got beautiful energy. Brina, as always, thank you so much. Thank you for your good energy, and just I love how Brina is. She's so feminine. I love those kinds of women. It's just the way I spend half my time acting like man them, yeah. It's just nice to actually be in, the energy of another, feminine female. So that's beautiful. Keely, Keely, you beautiful soul. Thank you so much always. Thought you was gonna get your mum on. Thought your mum was gonna have a little sneaky appearance. But she'll have to come on for the part 2. Kay, as always, thank you, my darling. Loved what you shared about, your personal experience in life. That's so brave, and I'm glad you're here, because if you did anything to yourself, who would I talk to? And Milan, you always make me laugh, Mills. I love it. I love our I love the thing you said when you make me cry tears laughing. I don't think anyone else understands this. I think usually it's just between me and you, but I love that. That's my little bond with you. But thank you, guys. Thank you to everybody in the comments. This is my first time hosting, to be honest. Got to the end of it, reckon that I'm better than Sticky Fingers, and he's sacked. Yes, Sticky, you got no job, you are sacked. But make sure that I'm going to put everything, like when I post this video, I'll put everything in the comments. Make sure you follow Mrs. NG Bant. She runs a meme page, like empowering women, and it is funny. Brina, follow Brina's Addictive Cakes. I will put everything in the comments. But thank you, guys. Don't forget to join us next week, because we've got a quiz, and it's going to be hosted by DJ Empress, and a woman's going to win. Definitely a woman is going to win. Sticky, you are not winning this one. Carl, make sure you join in this one. It's the Christmas quiz, so you have to do it. But yeah,
2 devices, guys. 2 devices for the quiz.
Devices, yes. You need 2 devices, but I'll put a post up about that as well. It would be great if everyone can join us. Thank you to all our new viewers, and yeah, I think it's gone pretty well, and I look forward to part 2. So yes, thank you, and good night. Bye, guys. Peace, love, and light always.